Hi, today we're going to make salted caramel brownies. They have dulce de leche in them and sea salt on top. I've never made them before. I can't wait to cut into them. Hi, Gloria Donahue with Nana's Cookery back in the kitchen, and I have a little guest here today who wants to get a lot of aggression out this afternoon. This is my great-granddaughter, Courtney, and she's just going to do some pounding on our chocolate that we're going to use in this recipe. I used a meat pounder on its side. I don't want to break the bag, and I don't want everything to be tiny, but she's going to, I had some dark chocolate, and she's going to break it into smaller pieces. She's going to finish breaking it into smaller pieces. Just go at it, kid. See, she's thinking of all the things she'd like to do to people, but instead she's taking out her aggression on the chocolate. That's a good thing.
That looks right.
Yep, I think I think that's good. Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. You're going to help me another time, I know. Love you. We're going to make salted caramel brownies. I have never made them before. But if you see this YouTube, they turned out okay, because if they don't turn out okay, we won't use the video. It calls for 3/4 of a cup of flour, which I have measured. Forgot my baking powder. Courtney, could you go get my baking powder in the pantry? And 1.25 cups of brown sugar. Just the time you think you have everything, there's always something you're short of. Thank you very much. And 1/8 teaspoon. So since I didn't take that out, I'm going to kind of guess about 1/8 teaspoon. And then I'm going to add 2 eggs. And you know my rule for eggs. I always break them separately just in case I get any shell in there, which I have. And now I'm just going to stir it with a fork before I put it in. I think that's easier. Let's get those dry things. Now, if you take out your brown sugar and it's lumpy, it's got hard lumps in it, you've got a little break in that bag somehow. You can temporarily save it by putting it in the microwave, put a damp, not really wet paper towel over it, and do it very briefly, and that will soften it enough for you to measure it for this recipe. But then transfer it to another bag that doesn't have a hole in it and put a piece of white bread in there or an apple slice. And what that will do is give enough moisture to soften that brown sugar again. Mine was okay. It should be okay. I didn't have any hard lumps in it. Okay, so there's 1 egg. And these are large eggs. That's the size I tend to buy because it's the most useful for me. Now this calls for 1/3 cup of dulce de leche. And if you looked at my banoffee pie recipe on YouTube, I cook my own condensed milk making my own dulce de leche. But if you go to a market which sells a lot of Hispanic things, if they have a whole good Hispanic department, you can buy the dulce de leche already made, which is the condensed milk, but it's already been cooked. But it will be more expensive than the regular condensed milk. So you could still buy condensed milk and cook it at home, and that's in the banoffee pie recipe. But it calls for 1/3 cup of dulce de leche, and this is what it's like. It's very caramelized after it cooks, and it's much thicker than it was when it was just condensed milk. So that's 1/3 cup. And what you could do with the extra is use it as a topping on ice cream or a cake or something, because it's a caramel sauce. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and I always use real vanilla. Two-thirds of a cup of melted sweet or unsalted butter. So we're going to put that in there. We're going to mix that all up. And Tracy chopped up the chocolate. I must really be losing it. Apparently I said Tracy was helping me by chopping chocolate. Her name is Courtney. My beloved granddaughter. A great-granddaughter. Tracy is my I really am losing it. Thank you, love. And the chocolate was 5 1/4 ounces of dark chocolate. And this is good because we didn't need a mixer for this. And in the clear bowl, you can really see what it looks like. Remember, when you're doing any mixture, you're going for consistency. You want to go through and make sure that that is all very well mixed. Now, I'm seeing a couple little brown sugar pieces show up there, which I certainly don't want. Didn't see them while I was putting it in. But so you can see this is very caramely. And we're going to put in this chunk chocolate. So we've got all kinds of different sizes there. So we'll see how that works out. And then on the top, we're going to put some sea salt. Whoever thought, we've only had sea salt around for seasoning. I never thought of putting it on top of things, but of course they are now. Here's my good heavy-duty spatula. So that's really good. I'm going to spoon this into this is an 8-inch square pan. And as I've said before, very often you'll see something for 13 by 9, and maybe you just don't want to make that much. Or you're not sure of the recipe, and why make 13 by 9 if you're not really going to like it? An 8-inch square, I know you mathematicians, it's not exactly half of a 9 by 13. I know that. But I very successfully through the years have doubled 8 by 8 recipes to 9 by 13 or halved the others into the 8-inch square. Works fine. So we're just going to spread this mixture in there. And spread it out. And again, you always want to spread something into all the corners. There we go. And we're going to use the sea salt, okay, and it calls for 1/2 of a teaspoon. So that's about right. And we're just going to, and it is interesting that you'll see a lot of recipes now for salted caramels, brownies, etc., using the sea salt. It's a coarser salt, and of course they say that salt adds a good taste to everything. So we're putting this in the oven, and now I'll have to look and see the temperature, which I have put aside, and it is 325 for 40 to 45 minutes, or just until firm around the edges. My great-granddaughter and I agree that these are delicious. They tested done. You can see around the outside, that tested done. I put a toothpick in it, it tested done. However, I believe they are very soft. They would be fabulous under vanilla ice cream, but whether you want to pick one up and eat it on its own, I think they're kind of loose. Now, they're kind of loose, but they're very good. So you decide for yourself. It's good to see you again. Don't forget to subscribe. They're going to kill me if I don't say that. Bye-bye.